Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our webinar for our journey of purpose and discovery to Ireland. Tonight, I get to do one of my favorite things in the travel industry, and that is talk about one of my favorite countries in the world, which is Ireland, with friends. And so tonight you are in for a real treat, and we hope that you get a chance to join us in Ireland on October 6th with our journey hosts by Dr. Lynn Brinckmeyer. Before we get to our great host and our great journey, I would like to introduce you to Nicola Balmain, who is the president and founder of Nanda Journeys, to tell us a little bit more about Nanda Journeys for those of you that are new to who we are, and introduce our great host, Lynn Brinckmeyer. Nicola, thank you so much for joining me.
So good to see you, Michael. I echo that sentiment. You know, this is one of my favorite things to do, especially to talk about Ireland. Coming from England and with Irish ancestry, all my grandparents, a little piece of my heart will be with you tonight as we talk about Ireland. So lovely to see you. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Nanda Journeys and welcome to the Nanda family. It's so wonderful to see some familiar names on tonight's registration for the webinar. I know some of you have traveled with us before. Some of you are considering traveling with us before. So let me introduce Nanda Journeys and who we are and what we're all about. Nanda Journeys was founded in 2015 after a lifelong career started in the UK, moved to the States, and fell in love with the style of travel we're talking to you about tonight, which is that people connection, people-centric, cultural immersion journeys. And when the company I was working for decided to close their doors, I decided it was time to put my big girl pants on, as I like to tell everybody, and do what I was passionate about and start Nanda Journeys. So we do everything with purpose, we do everything with passion, and we're really proud of the accolades that we're starting to now gather as Nanda Journeys. So welcome everyone, whether you've traveled with us before or considering travel with us, it's so great to have you on board tonight. Something I really love to talk about is the Nanda Way. And that isn't some, clever marketing tool that we sat around a table and discussed. It evolved over time. We didn't create it. Actually, our travelers, our leaders, such as the wonderful Dr. Lynn Brinckmeyer, who you'll meet here shortly, and the guides that we interact with along the way, they coined this phrase. And people kept saying to us, we love the Nanda Way. I'm like, well, okay, what is the Nanda Way? And it was so just ingrained in the way that we do things here that we hadn't really given thought to the fact that it might sound different to other people. So the Nanda Way is about authenticity. It's about conversations we're having with you. They should be authentic. We should be exploring whether or not Nanda Journeys is a good fit for you in an authentic way. We love to really connect you to the culture, the community, and the people of the destinations that you visit. And we'll talk about lots of that in Ireland tonight. All of our programs are designed to be small, immersive, and intimate. And as I like to tell people, we don't have a brochure, we don't have a catalog, because all of our programs are bespoke. They're created unique for you, our guests, and we hope you enjoy what we have planned for you in Ireland.
And there's so much that makes Nanda Journeys and what you guys do unique and special and exciting and amazing. On top of all of those amazing things, one of the things that I feel makes our journey so unique are our hosts, our journey hosts. And today, for this trip, we have one of the best, Dr. Lynn Brinckmeyer. Tell us a little bit about our journey host and who they're going to be traveling with.
You're so very, very fortunate. For all of you that are listening tonight that do not know Dr. Lynn Brinckmeyer, we have been friends for many, many years. And in the professional capacity, Dr. Brinckmeyer has led music education journeys for us for many years. Lynn, how long have we been working together now? It's a very long time.
I think it's 10 or 11 years now.
Yeah, it's just been such a journey. And Lynn is very heart forward, global citizen that connects her group in a way that is so very special. She is a music professor at Texas State University. She creates connections with her students that are very special, and that then transcends into the connection she makes with our travelers when they're traveling overseas. And all of the images you're seeing here is Lynn enjoying Nanda Journeys, and in particular an Ireland journey that she enjoyed with us last year. And Lynn, you've performed all over the world as well. Tell us a little bit about some of your past experiences with NANDA and traveling in general. Why do you love doing it?
I think that NANDA Journeys fired up something in me. My first trip was actually with People to People when we went to China, and just the expanse of my world, it was mind-blowing to be able to make discoveries with all of these other colleagues and see the world through new eyes. And also it helps me, it's such a privilege to do this, but also looking at the world and how lucky we are to live here in the United States, how privileged we are in so many ways, and also the ways that we can learn how to be better humans. I think that's the part that I love so much about NANDA Journeys is we're always learning how to be better humans. We're meeting with people that are off the tourist track, and we are learning about the country along through the eyes of the people who live there from day to day. Yeah, we still see some of the tourist things, and because some of those are very exciting, but we go deeper than that, and just walking and or having tea with someone that you would never ever think about meeting, and sitting in their living room, as you will see some pictures in a few minutes. I wanted to say something about the community connections too, because the community is building the people who are traveling together. And the reason I say that, because I have lifelong friendships with individuals who have traveled with me on every single tour, or almost every single tour. And these are people that I consider to be my very dearest friends, and they will be lifelong friends. Also, I still connect with people in Tanzania, people in South Africa, because these are connections that I made when we took delegations to these different countries. And one of the things that I made some connections with some people when we went to Brazil, and some of those individuals ended up coming to Texas State and doing some clinics for us. And you just don't know how it will open and expand your life, whether it's personally or professionally. And the thing also about the responsible and regenerative travel right there, when I take a look at that, every single trip, I feel completely safe. I feel honored. I feel respected. We end up falling in love with the guides, and we also love the bus drivers too. I mean, they are part of our family. And so, it's hard to put into words. There's so many details that it's just hard to do very quickly in a summary, but I will just say, you travel on one of these trips and your life will never be the same. You will be a changed person when you come back.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you. And I heard on the grapevine that your journey to Ireland last year, which was a music delegation, that it's formed a lot of the experiences that we're going to talk to tonight. I hear you still have a WhatsApp group going and you talk to each other every day. Is that true?
We have a text group that we start. Actually, my student's the one who set it up. And we set that up while we were in the country so that we could communicate with each other sometimes every day, depending on what's going on, but absolutely every week. We are still connecting with each other and talking. And in fact, if I haven't heard anything from someone, I'm like, what's going on? And that isn't going to stop. I mean, those are such strong friendships that we are constantly looking at each other, and they're making soda bread lots of times from Ireland and talking about it, and recipes. So it's really fun.
Oh, I love that. So everybody, we really focus on the community connection. I tell everybody we're people connectors. And if it isn't apparent already from the short time you've spent on our call tonight, that's really what we intend for you in Ireland is, yes, to experience the country, to experience the culture, the history, the countrysides, the castles, but moreover, by connecting to the people, you're really gonna truly understand what a warm Irish welcome really feels like. So thank you, Lynn, for being here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and now we get to the meat and potatoes, as they would say.
Definitely in Ireland. That's a statement you'll hear a lot.
Talking about our amazing trip to Ireland, I would be remiss. I forgot to mention in the beginning of our webinar that this webinar is being recorded. So if you do miss a part of it, or if you have a traveling companion that might not be able to be here tonight, please know that we'll be sending out the recording after this particular event tonight. Also, everyone on the webinar is muted, but we do want you to participate. So there is an opportunity for you to ask questions as we go through the itinerary. If there's something that you want to learn more about, at the end, we'll offer time for questions and answers, and I'll be able to ask questions throughout our conversation this evening as well. Just click on the Q&A button that's there in your toolbar, and then just ask your questions away, and we'll get to as many as we can tonight throughout the conversation. So with that being said, our journey of purpose and discovery to Ireland departs on October 6th and arrives back on the 15th. It includes 10 days, 9 nights 18 meals. Our first flight is an overnight flight into Dublin. We spent 2 evenings in Dublin before traveling north to Belfast, stopping at Strangford along the way. After our evening in Belfast, we stop in Giant's Causeway onto the beautiful city of Derry, or Londonderry, depending on who you talk to, which you'll learn a lot more about on the itinerary. And then after Derry, we travel on our way to Galway. We spend 1 evening in the beautiful city of Galway, and trust me, 1 evening is a lot, but it's not enough. Galway is one of those cities that's just filled with music and life. After our stop in Galway, we spend some time on the cliffs of Moher. The 600-foot cliffs rising off of the Atlantic Ocean are some of the most beautiful scenes you'll see in the entire world. On our way to Killarney, we'll spend our final 2 evenings in the country of Ireland before flying home from Shannon. So on this particular journey, there's a lot to take in, a lot to understand, but really it's all about community and personal connection. Ireland, as Nicola had mentioned, gives you that warm Irish welcome. Everywhere you go, people are happy to see you. So Nicola, Lynn, could you tell us a little bit about what we'll be experiencing in the community and personal connections on this journey?
Yeah, we're going to tell our guests this evening about very personal experiences that both Lynn and I have actually had. So both of us have had the distinct pleasure of actually experiencing all of the elements in the program that we've included for you. So Lynn, one of the things I think I really heard a lot about was, you know, the bread making class. And you said, I think some of your guests are still making soda bread. And
absolutely.
Is that right?
Stories of where do you buy your flour at? I mean, it's refining the recipes to match what the ingredients are that we have here in the United States. And some are ordering ingredients from across the pond too. So it's really fun to see them continue refining their recipes. And I also, this is something I meant to say a minute ago, and I don't want to forget it. I used to say that the guides that we have on these tours are walking encyclopedias. I don't say that anymore because people don't know what encyclopedia is, but they're walking Google or walking Wikipedia. I mean, they're amazing to know the history and help fill in all the blanks that you might not know, except talking to someone who actually lives there and experiences that culture. So I wanted to make sure I didn't forget to say that.
Yeah, and the bread making class, I love it because it's in Tracy's farmhouse. And I use Tracy by her first name because she's also a friend of Nanda at this point. And we get to go into her kitchen and make soda breads and really get hands-on. So this is, you know, it's Tracy's kitchen that you were seeing. But I think this might be one of the highlights for you, Lynn, and I'd love for you to share your Gap of Dunloe experience and your jaunty cart ride. And how was that for you?
You know, this, when I see these pictures here, my heart just goes back. I can hear things. I can feel the mist on my face. One of the things that I loved so much about the people that took us on these jaunty cart rides is they cared deeply about the horses, because sometimes we would go up very steep hills and sometimes we stepped out of the carts to make sure that the horses didn't have a really heavy load to carry. Or if they did carry us up to the top of the hill, we would stop and let them rest for an amount of time so the horse's heartbeat would go back down. They were so careful to honor the land and honor the animals there. And I greatly appreciated that. That was so important to me. And we definitely fell in love with all of the horses, and they let us pet their faces and everything. Also, I wanted to share the sheepdog. Well, you can see this is at the end of the boat ride. We were soaking wet, but we were hysterically happy. We were all laughing. It was quite a bit of joy. So you can tell we really enjoyed ourselves.
It's no good being in Ireland unless you have a good, authentic Irish day, right, Lynn? Yeah. And that includes a little bit of rain.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously it didn't bother us one bit. We were having a great time. When we went to the sheepdog demonstration out on that ranch, we were blown away by the mastery of the person who, you know, the person who owned the ranch, and the dogs, and how they could articulate it just by whistles and little verbal commands that the gentleman was giving. The dogs knew exactly what to do. They would jump in and they would get one sheep out, or they would take 5 or 6 sheep. I mean, it was amazing to watch the communication. And the dogs were so excited that they would be sitting there quiet, and then you could just see them trembling. They were so anxious to get up and run, but they only ran when they were told to, and they went and corralled. So I will say that was a highlight. I thought, you know, I don't know what to expect, but it was so much fun. We truly enjoyed sheepdog
And
demonstration.
I think I saw a picture of you doing a little
Yeah,
hurting
I was
yourself, Lynn. You didn't quite
proud.
get the whistle down, but I saw that you got the arm action going.
I got out there and got in the way. Absolutely. He said, okay, let's go for it. It was a blast.
So these experiences that we're doing that really engage you with the culture of the community, they're all on a private basis. So you're all together as your group. So you're continuing to make those friendships. You're continuing to get to know each other. So it doesn't matter if you're traveling with a companion or if you're traveling solo, you're going to make friends on this journey because you're actually getting involved in doing things very much together. And of course, traveling to Ireland just wouldn't be complete without a whiskey tasting experience. So we'll definitely be introducing you to the art of single malt Irish whiskey. It's not obligated of you to try them all, but the experience in of itself and the history and the culture, I think, is amazing. And this is a journey that incorporates castles and countryside and coastline. So we're visiting Glenarm Castle as well on this journey. And you know, again, depending on who you talk to, and you'll have your own individual experience in Ireland, but there are 32 counties in Ireland. And with all of the experiences that we're having, while we're only staying in a handful of them, you're experiencing so many of them. So, you know, that's the other wonderful thing about this journey to Ireland is the landscapes you're seeing and just how much you're traveling. The landscapes are stunning and the rain makes them just beautiful. How many pictures did you take, Lynn?
Oh, I bet you several hundreds. Some of just one castle, 20, 30 pictures of one castle because they were so fascinating. And we also, I don't remember exactly now where it was on the tour, but we stopped by an old graveyard that was by an old beautiful church and seeing the headstones. Some of the dates were BC. Again, you know, they were just mind blowing that this could be that old because we don't typically see that in the United States. So that was a part of history that was just sort of hard to comprehend from our perspective in the United States.
Yeah, I'm pictured here a couple of my guests, and that was the Wishing Bridge there at the Gap of Dunloe. So from an English lady who used to play games with her siblings and places similar to that, I recommend you play poo sticks on the Wishing Bridge. And that is grabbing a little stick and throwing it over at one side and seeing whose stick makes it to the other side of the bridge first and make a wish as they go under. And, you know, all your wishes may come true. I don't know. Give it a try. I don't know. So Michael, you were moving on. I'm sorry, I had you skip back.
No worries. So many great stories to tell. And one of the reasons I was kind of eager to get to this part that I love this journey so much is when you talk about the culture of any destination, you talk about the food, the people, the history. Not a lot of times you get a chance to explore the music that makes a culture and a history so unique. And so in this particular itinerary, I mean, you guys, you've added so much, Nicola, in terms of music and the Irish music and what that means to the culture here in Ireland. So tell us a little bit about the music and the experiences that the travelers will have on the journey as they not only experience the people and the history and the culture, but also the sounds that make Ireland one of a kind.
So unique, yeah. And this one, we're so very fortunate, as I say, to be working with Lynn because we designed this itinerary for a journey that Lynn led a delegation last year that was focused around music education in Ireland, the history of music, but it is so integral to the culture and to the heritage. A lot of those components that we developed that I'm going to invite Lynn to talk about, we left them in the program. You cannot go to Ireland and not experience all these wonderful musical elements. So I'd love for you to share a little bit about this picture and who the gentleman on the far right is, and tell me a little bit about this gentleman you met, Lynn.
Well, I mean, this wonderful host, we're sitting in his living room. It's not, we're 2 or 3 feet away from them, making these amazing concerts that they were sharing with us. We also had people coming and serving us afternoon snacks and tea and everything like that. But just to be there in his living room, and he every time they would play something, he would share this amazing story that had the background to it. So we weren't just experiencing how beautiful the music was, we were understanding the history of that piece and where it came from and how they learned and how they learned it as children, maybe by orally rather than looking at the printed score. It was fabulous to just sit there and be immersed in music, drinking tea or some of the different drinks that they had, and all these different little crumpets and things like that that they shared with us. And so I don't know how to explain anymore, except that it was, for us as music teachers, we were blown away. And also the Irish dance lesson, it's feel invited, but there were a few people who decided to watch. The rest of us make fools of ourselves, but we had so much fun. We giggled so much. We actually made it look like an Irish dance by the time we got with some of their students in the dance studio, and the director was teaching us, and it was so much fun to be able to see what goes into it. It's not quite river dance, that's what's going on here, but we still had a great time.
Oh, that's great. Well, I love Christy, and I love that story because I'm fortunate to have met Christy in his home as well, and his wonderful artist wife, Sheila. And the fact that, you're just, like you say, in their living room with the gorgeous views. It's in a little town called Doolin. For those of you familiar with Ireland, you may have heard of Doolin. It really is part of the origin of Irish music, traditional Irish music. So you're really in a place in Ireland where they're so passionate about their culture, they're so passionate about their history. And when you've heard stories about the Irish being able to tell tales, Christy can tell a few tales. He's quite the character. He will keep you entertained, and the time is gonna fly by for you. And you will also experience traditional Irish dance. Lynn, this is an experience that I think resonated really well with your guests, and this is the farewell dinner, but tell us a little bit about the entertainment and the experience of your farewell dinner.
Absolutely. So this farewell dinner that, of course it was a fabulous meal, and, in candlelight and everything, it's just so spectacular. But we also had some of the traditional dancers come and perform for us. And we were blown away by the beauty of their dancing, and they would share some of the history and background of some of the different dances and what they were doing. We were knee slapping and having a great time by the time we got through this, because you can't just sit and listen to this music and be passive, as far as I can say. And I just wanted to say, this gentleman that's sitting right at the beginning, at the bottom of the picture, that's our bus driver. And I wanted to let you know that our tour guide off to the right there, you can see Paul and Joe. We adored them, and when they first came, they were sitting off to the side like the staff, and we said, no, you're part of the family. And so we had so much fun having them right there with us. And I think that's the thing that we love so much about Nanda Journeys, is we're all in it together. We all can help share different experiences with each other, and it's not about you're working for me, I'm working for you. It was, how do we all enjoy and this scenery and this beauty and this culture all together, so that we all come away better because of it.
No, it's so true. I know it's culturally different around the world, but it's something that we do make a point of inviting the guides and the drivers to become part of the unit, so long as it's not culturally insensitive. And even where it is culturally insensitive, over time, typically at the end of, the experience and the journey, everybody's joining in, but you don't need to invite an Irishman twice to come and join you if you're going to go have a good meal and a good conversation. So good to see them there joining in and having a great time. So a lot of what we've coordinated for this experience, again, is very, very personal, intimate, and hands-on. So you're not in a crowd of hundreds of people trying to observe these entertainers, trying to connect with these entertainers. You're right there with them, and you're having your own experience and getting as involved as you would like, as your comfort level will allow you. Just jump right in and get involved. And I want to see the pictures when you all come back.
Yeah, one of the things that honestly, that I love about Nanda Journeys, but just group travel in general, is you bring your old friends with you, and you make new friends along the way. And it's funny how in the beginning and the welcome dinner, how nobody's really talking to one another. They're all kind of new. And by the farewell dinner, you see pictures like this, where you're all one big happy family gathered around the big table and just sharing stories and email addresses and pictures from the journey. It's amazing how it all comes full circle, and how the people you're with, it's not necessarily just where you go, but the people that you're with really make the journey one of a kind. But the places you go on this trip are just absolutely beautiful. And one of the reasons that I love this itinerary is because it sees all of the beauty that Ireland has to offer. You're not just focusing on the eastern half or the west coast or the northern part of Ireland. This journey gives you a chance to see all the beauty. Here you see the cliffs of Moher, which is personally one of my favorite travel memories of my entire career, being in travel for over 10 years. So this is definitely going to be a highlight for everyone. But tell us a little bit about the beauty of Ireland and some of the scenes and sights and sounds that our travelers are going to have.
Yeah, Lynn, I think you shared Michael's sentiments about the Cliffs of Moher, as did many of your delegates that were with you. It's a sight to behold, and you know they are like giants rising out of the ocean. It's so beautiful. But what was your favorite countryside memory in terms of be the coast or the greenery, or you can't go around a corner without something looking so stunning in Ireland?
That's for sure. I will say these pictures are beautiful, but they don't do justice to what you actually see, because there's all the senses and feelings and smells and the wind in your face. And I just felt like I was walking in a postcard the whole time, the whole time we were there. But I will say that the Cliffs of Moher were my absolute favorite. And just standing there, it's almost like you could feel like you were you were transpired into another world. I don't even know how to describe it, except that it does take you to another level of experience. And then, you know, having some of your friends, and there's a lot of people there, at least at different parts, but there's places you can go along the cliffs that are private too. And just seeing the joy, for me, seeing the joy on my students' faces. They just kept saying, I can't believe I'm here. And there were tears coming out of their eyes. They were so excited to be at this majestic place. And so for me, that was just one of the best things that I could ever think about. If I can go back to just a comment about Michael made too, about, you know, the beginning dinner, that sometimes we don't know each other. What I try to do, and I welcome all of you who want to go on this journey, is that just shortly before we take off, I have a Zoom meeting so all of us can get together and get to know each other's faces, learn a little bit about each other, so that when you do see somebody in the airport that is part of the delegation, that you can start making friends before you even get to Ireland, and that we all know who each other is, and we're comfortable before we even get on the plane. So I want to make sure to let you know about that.
Thank you. Thank you for making that point. And the Giants Causeway here too. And this is where we are not missing the icons. So at Nanda Journeys, we try to take you off the beaten path, but we're never going to have you be somewhere and be so close that you're going to miss one of those iconic locations. And we do it in a way where we invite local guides that are experts as well. So whilst you have your guide with you from beginning to end, that's going to stay with you and be your anchor guide throughout your time in Ireland, we have additional guides that are added to the program to provide you with that very deep understanding of the location that you're at. And this is the Baron, you know, we're stopping off and having some. This is a group that I actually took just a little over a year ago. We were the very first group back into Ireland after COVID. So the partner that we had, they were super excited to see us. And the greenery, the rain, it serves its purpose. I left the northwest of England because I'd had my fill. I live in California now, but you cannot have rain without beauty. And the greenery you can't describe the different colors of green, I don't think. And of course, we have Dublin. You cannot go to Ireland and not experience Dublin. This is the Temple Bar. This is where you'll also have an opportunity to see life in Dublin. We'll do an exploration of Dublin, the bars, the ceilidh, the music. We've got several pub restaurants where you'll experience the local cuisine in Ireland as well. So I genuinely believe this itinerary really showcases all the different sides of Ireland and the different personalities of Ireland. You'll see that the language changes depending on where you are, and the slang changes. And if you can understand the jaunty cart riders down in the Gap of Dunloe there, you've done your homework and you've tuned in, because they're tricky, but they're definitely super fun. So we hope that in reviewing the itinerary after today, you feel, as we do, that we've introduced a little bit of everything.
Let's take it real quick, because when I see this picture here, I remember going inside that building there, and I bought a whole bunch of Guinness candy bars, Guinness chocolate candy bars. And so now I had this big order from all my family. You need to bring a whole bunch more. That wasn't enough. So that when I see this store, I always think of Guinness candy bars because it was quite a bit when I brought them home.
Oh, that's great. I know all the different snacks and all the different candies. You have to on my particular delegation, we had Nicholas Snack Shack at the front of the bus, and every day I would buy different treats, like different candies and different potato chips and all of the different things that I now miss. So yeah, it was no good for the diet for me when I go back to Ireland. It's terrible.
Yeah, so we have a lot ready and waiting for everyone. So in terms of those that are interested, let's get down to the details. Again, our journey departs on October 6th, 2023 and gets back on October 15th. This 10-day, 9-night itinerary features 18 meals. The cost of the trip is $5,699 per person. That is land and air out of New York City. If New York City
Michael,
is not
would you just put that slide? Would you just put that slide up for us? We're just not seeing the that
You're
slide.
not seeing the. Are you not seeing the map?
No, do you see it, Lynn?
No, I do
No.
not.
Let me try here. Did
There we
that
go.
shift it?
Perfect.
It shifted.
Yep, thank you.
Interesting. I had to pause and unpause. So here we are again. Cost of the trip is $56.99 land and air out of New York City. As I was saying, if New York City is not a convenient gateway for you, Nanda Journeys and Nicola and our team are able to find flights out of all of the major gateways. So you are able to find a gateway that's convenient for you. If you are interested in traveling as a single, there is a $999 single supplement. For you to hold your space, there's just a $500 per person deposit that is due. If you are interested, we always highly recommend travel insurance. That would be due at time of deposit as well. And our team at Nanda Journeys can help you with that quote as well. If you are interested in signing up, your deposit is fully refundable up until May 9th, and all money is fully refundable minus a $95 service fee. I bring that up because this journey is already halfway full, even though we're about 6 months away from departure. And given how many people we have signed up for this webinar and on this webinar tonight, we fully anticipate that the journey will sell out. So I do mention that just to say it's better to hold your spot and decide by May 9th whether or not you can travel and not need your spot, then decide on May 9th that you'd like to travel with us. And unfortunately, us have to waitlist you. So if you're interested, the sooner you can sign up, the better. So with that being said, we do have some time for question and answer. We do have a couple of questions.
Mm-hmm.
If my slide will shift, there we go again. We have a question in regards, I think this question is for you, Nicola. If you have friends in other parts of Ireland, can you add visits to the beginning or the end of the journey? So can you extend your trip to Ireland in the beginning or the end?
Yeah, absolutely. And we actually are also specialists in creating bespoke private journeys for people. So yeah, absolutely. We just need to know a little bit about where you would like to go. We're happy to put that together for you at the beginning or at the end. If you wanted to extend your time and go on to say Scotland or London or other parts of the UK, we're happy to do that for you also.
Perfect. And this is a tried and true question. You can always count on this one. In terms of the weather, what can you expect in Ireland in October?
It doesn't matter which month you're asking about. Changeable is always the answer for Ireland. So I was in, I think, Scotland in October last year, and we had the most glorious weather. It was like an English summer, you know. You can never, ever tell. Pack layers, pack a mini umbrella, a rain jacket, and good waterproof shoes is really important. But it would be very, very, very unfortunate if you saw rain every day. You're probably going to see a mixture of cloudy days, sunshine, and showers. And if you're fortunate like I was, I had 90% clear days, blue skies. So there is no predictability to the Irish weather. And I'll invite Lynn to tell us about the weather you experienced. You were there at a similar time. Well, you were there at a similar time, Lynn. I know you were there in the summer.
Well, I've been in the summer, but I've also been a little bit later. And it was, again, one day would be very sunny. The next day it might be raining, but maybe it will clear off in that afternoon. And so, you know, I guess that if you don't like the weather, just wait a while, it'll probably change. And so that was for us. And even with the winter and the clouds, or if you have anything like that, when you're doing some of these sightseeing, it's still magical because it has a different feel to it. But we were fortunate to see the Clifton Moor when it was sunny. Some of the other things, it was rainy, but it did not matter to us. We loved it all.
I think it was 2022. I was there in early October in Ireland with a group, and we saw rain one day. So if we hadn't have had rain, though, we would have felt slighted, right? You can't go to Ireland without a bit of rain.
Ireland is all about the rain. Yeah, I mean, in terms of other questions, I don't see any other questions. So if you do have any questions, I have a question of my own that I'll ask. But if you have a question and you're still on the line, the question and answer tab is there. Just click on the Q&A, type it in. We're happy to answer any questions for you. The question that I have is something that I always ask someone when they go to Ireland. I think, Lynn, you had mentioned the Cliffs of Moher as a key highlight of the island of Ireland, of the Emerald Isle. But in terms of your experience in Ireland, what is your favorite part of Ireland? What would you say, you got there and you left saying, I loved this aspect of Ireland?
It's hands down the people. They were so kind and warm and engaging. And the thing I loved about them, they were so proud of their country and happy to be where they were. So inviting. So it's all about the people, in my perspective.
And yeah. I love the people too, but I'm going to switch the question up for you, Nicola, a little bit, because you're the genius behind the design of this itinerary. I would ask, what are you most excited about this group experiencing on this journey to Ireland?
I think for me, it's connected to the people. It's the hands-on experiences, right? Yeah. So we don't need to work hard to show you something. That's really, really easy. But if we can connect you to the culture, I think for me, the highlight when I experienced something very similar to this itinerary, the Gap of Dunloe was amazing, the jaunty carts. But the Christy Barry experience at the Doolin Music House, I just felt like I was being invited into somebody's home to really experience firsthand their lifestyle. And that I really absolutely thrive on that. I mean, that's why I do Nanda Journeys. So I think that's a given. But the beauty is, you can't describe it. It's difficult to describe. Like even the transitions, so going from place to place, it's stunning, and the opportunities to stop. And I think Paul did a wonderful job as well, Lynn, of adapting to the delegation and trying to find highlights for them, those yes. little nuggets along the way that weren't not planned. So, we like to maintain a timely schedule, but we also want to make sure that everybody does what they want to do along the way. And I think that's something that's special for me, is the guides really get to know the guests. And they try and find opportunities to make sure that they have their own unique experience.
Yes, if I can add to that, Paul was great because one of our delegates, she crochets and does all kinds of knitting, some of the most magnificent sweaters you've ever seen. And we didn't have a knit shop a yarn shop on the agenda, but he created that for her so we could go and make sure that she was able to get some yarn and get some, so she can make her sweater. And she did. She made it while we were there. I mean, it was remarkable. So just taking those interests of what do people care about, what do they want to do that might not be on the original itinerary, and expanding that. Paul was a master at that.
Oh, that's wonderful. We do love our guides.
Yeah. Awesome. So that brings an end to our webinar. Thank you all so much for joining us. Nicola, I'll let you and Lynn close it out. Where can they go for more questions and answers and wrap it up for us?
Yeah, I'll reach out to everybody that attended this evening with our personal contact information for both Lynn and I, in case you have individual questions. But go to www.nandajourneys.com, find the Ireland Journey of Purpose and Discovery. You can call us at 888-747-7501. People think that we don't like to talk to people these days, but we do, and we love to talk to people about travel, especially this particular program to Ireland. So we will follow up individually with everyone. I hope you can join us. I know some of the guests that are with us this evening are definitely planning on joining you, Lynn, and that's wonderful. I look forward to the stories. And thank you for taking this time with us tonight to come and learn about our journey of purpose and discovery to Ireland. Lynn, do you have any closing comments?
I would just say that sometimes people want to talk and just get a sense of what a day is like. And I'm happy for, if you reach out to Nicola, then she can share your contact information with me. I'm happy to set up a Zoom call or a phone call and answer as many questions as possible and let you get a sense of what the trip is like before, during, and after. I'm happy to do that. So, please feel free to reach out to me. I'll be happy to have a conversation with you privately, in addition to the Zoom meeting closer to the time of leaving.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for being here, everybody. And we will talk to everybody soon.
Bye.